this video, I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this really pretty scalloped edge scarf. It's a very simple one row repeat, and as it works up, it creates these beautiful scallops running along the sides of the scarf, as well as the top and bottom edge of your scarf. For my scarf here on the table, I used an entire ball, this is all I have left, of the James Brett Emotions double knitting yarn in the shade Serenity. The only thing I changed was my hook size, so this yarn recommends a 4mm crochet hook, but I found it's actually quite fluffy, as you can see, and expands quite a lot once it's out of the ball. So I upped to a 5.5mm crochet hook just to allow for a little bit of extra drape. It's entirely optional. If you change your hook size for this pattern, you can go ahead and use the recommended hook size, unless you are using a yarn like mine here, which kind of fluffs up a little bit. You may feel that it works up a little bit stiff. So have a little play when it comes to your chosen yarn and hook size. But this scarf is incredibly simple and works up really, really quickly. To begin, pop a slip knot onto your hook. Now this very first row is a little bit tricky, so just trust the process. We are going to create the first row and then work underneath to create a row of scallops so that the top and bottom of your work match. After we've got this first slightly complicated row out of the way, it's a very easy one row repeat for the rest of the scarf. So the pattern multiple for this stitch is 4. So simply chain in multiples of 4 for the width that you want your scarf to be. For my personal scarf, I chained 36, but you can make it wider or skinnier. For the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to make a slightly smaller sample, so I'm going to go ahead and chain 24. Once you have your chains in your multiple of 4, we're going to begin by working into the third chain from the hook. Now this loop on your hook does not count as anything. You only want to count these fully formed chains hanging down below. 1, 2, 3. And into that third chain, we're going to work 2 double crochets. You can work into any part of the chain that you find easiest. I'm just going into the top here. That's 1 double crochet, and I'm going to work another into that exact same chain. Now chain 2, 1, 2, and single crochet into the very next chain. Skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and into the third, we're going to work 2 double crochets. So skip 2 chains and work 2 double crochets into the next. That's 1 and that's 2. Chain 2, 1, 2, and single crochet into the next chain. We're going to repeat that little sequence all the way down. Skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and work 2 double crochets into the next. That's 1, and that's 2. Then chain 2, 1, 2, and single crochet into the next chain. Skip 2 chains, work 2 double crochets into the next. Chain 2, then single crochet into the very next chain. Now we aren't finished yet with this row. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work, but so it's upside down. So we're just turning it 180 degrees so that the stitches you just made are now facing downwards, and we're going to be working into the space of those skipped chains. So we have a little space where we skipped 2 chains, working along the chain, the initial foundation chain. Now we're going to be working into those spaces. We're not going to be working into the chain 2s that you crocheted, just the skipped chains of this initial base chain of your multiple of 4. So find your first skipped chain 2 space. It will be just behind your last little sequence. And directly into that skipped chain 2 space, we're going to work 1 single crochet, just straight in. It will make this edge curve. Don't worry, that's what we want. You can kind of force it back a little bit. Then chain 2 and work 2 double crochets into that exact same chain space. 1 and 2. Then find your next set of skipped chains, and we're going to repeat the same. Single crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet, all worked into that same spot. Find the next set of skip chains, do the same thing. Single crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. You're going to work that little sequence of single crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet into all of your skipped chain spaces from the base row. Once you have worked into all the available skipped chain 2 spaces, you'll be looking a little bit uneven. If you count your bottom scallops, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or however many you have, you'll notice as we have come back along, you will have 1 scallop less than you have on this underside. So I have 6 along the bottom and I only have 5 along the top. We need these numbers to match. So for your very last scallop section, we're going to work into the same spot that you worked your very first 2 double crochets of the row into. So right here, if I turn it this way, it might be a bit easier for you to spot. When we started, we worked 2 double crochets into the 3rd chain. That chain where you worked those 2 double crochets, if you can find it, that is where we work our very last little scallop. I promise after this, it's plain sailing. So into the base of those first 2 double crochets that you made, work 1 single crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochets, all into that same spot. Now you should have the matching number of scallops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't worry that they're slanting off, that's fine. Row 1 The most complicated part of this scarf is now done, and it gets an awful lot easier from this point on, I promise. So for row 2, we're going to begin by simply turning our work. So just flip like the pages of a book. So you now have the wrong side facing you. We're going to immediately slip stitch under the second of those 2 double crochets that you made. So ignoring the one where we have just got our hook attached, find the next stitch and just slip stitch under it. Then slip stitch into the chain 2 space. Chain 2, 1, 2, that counts as a double crochet, and into the same chain 2 space, work 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1, 2, and a single crochet, all into that same spot. Find the next chain 2 space, and into there we work 2 double crochets, 1, 2, chain 2, 1, 2, and single crochet into that same chain 2 space. We're going to repeat this little sequence of 2 double crochet, chain 2, single crochet into each of your chain 2 spaces all the way across this row. So just find your next chain 2 space, work straight into it, 2 double crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet. Once you have run out of these chain 2 spaces to work into, just take a moment to ensure you have the right number of scallops. For me, that's 6. So I have 6 along the bottom, 6 on the next row, and on this row, row 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once you're happy that you have the correct number of scallops, you're now absolutely set up, ready for row 3, and row 3 is the pattern repeat row. Now all that means is you're going to repeat this next row, row 3, over and over and over again until your scarf is the length that you want it to be. So for row 3 and every subsequent row for this scarf, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, then turn your work. We're going to be working into the chain 2 spaces only. Into these chain 2 spaces, we're going to work 2 double crochet, 1, 2, chain 2, 1, 2, and a single crochet. Find your next chain 2 space and repeat the same. 2 double crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet. We're repeating this little sequence of 2 double crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet into each chain 2 space across this row. If at any point you want to change colour for your scarf, we do that in the very last single crochet of the row. So I'm just going to go ahead and undo that final single crochet I made. And when changing colour, it's super simple. We're going to begin the stitch in our current colour. So I'm just going into the chain 2 space and drawing up a loop. Then when I have 2 loops on my hook, I'm going to drop the old colour. I'm going to bring in the new colour by placing it over my hook and leaving a long enough tail for weaving in afterwards. Then draw the new colour through those 2 loops on your hook. You can trim off the old colour, again, leave a nice long tail for weaving in, and you're ready to continue. So from this point on, we're simply going to be repeating that last row that we did. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2, then turn our work. Find the chain 2 spaces of your little scallops all the way along, and into each of those chain 2 spaces, we work 2 double crochet, 1, 2, chain 2, 1, 2, and a single crochet. That's all there is to it. Find the next chain 2 space and work 2 double crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet. Work across into each of your chain 2 spaces, working 2 double crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet. Keep repeating this until your scarf is the length that you want it to be. Once your scarf is the length that you want it to be, and you have finished your very last single crochet of the row, to finish, we're simply going to chain 1, cut your yarn, leaving a nice long end for weaving in, pull that loop up and out, pull it tight, then all you have to do is weave in any ends that you may have. Now, because you have a matching top and bottom, gentle little scallop shape, and the scallops running down the sides, I have left mine entirely as is. I haven't gone on to add a fringe because this is a super cute little detail which I wanted to preserve in my scarf. If you wanted to go ahead and add fringing to your scarf, obviously you absolutely can, but that is all I did for my scarf. I just kept repeating row 3 until I ran out of yarn. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please do let me know what you think of this scarf down in the comments section below, and until next time, happy crocheting. Bye!